Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bob Mission 66, where today things are a little different. We're playing a different game. That's right, I've taken a break from Gran Turismo Sport, and in happiness of the F1 season coming back, I wanted to get some F1 footage out. So here I'm going to try a couple multiplayer races, and this is my first time I've ever actually really sat down for a couple hours and tried to get the handle on F1, because if you ask anyone, it is absolute carnage online. So I wanted to give it my best shot, and this first race here is going to be at the Interlagos in Brazil. Let's see how it goes. So I get a one-shot qualifying as I come into this fifth turn here. This should be... oh. Okay, there's things that are a little different, obviously. I guess I'm just going to roll with it. A little stricter on the corners when it comes to F1, but nevertheless, we're just going to keep going. For people that might be new to F1, there is a lot of different things, especially from what I've covered in my Gran Turismo videos, and while I'm not here to be the gospel truth of what you should and shouldn't do in the car, I try to give some tips, but F1 is a lot of technology and a lot of car. So as coming up here, I'm actually going to show off the DRS system, and there are 2 points on the track where this will come up, and you have to be within a 1 second distance of the car in front of you, but in qualifying it doesn't matter. So here I'm able to flip the DRS. That actually flips my spoiler up, and I am able to get more speed. It's to help with passing, but as you're going to see in qualifying, it's going to get me a great time that's not going to count. The guy behind me definitely had a 112. I had a 111. Should have had pole position on this race. But whatever. I'm new to multiplayer. I'm just going to see how this rolls. So coming out the gate, I grab a position right off the start. Very hectic start when it comes out of this race. A lot of damage can really affect the car. I'm locking up the tires left and right. So a couple things you really want to be avoiding. One, it's survival of the fittest. You really just got to be watching out for the cars behind you. They're going to come out of everywhere and try to slow you down. So if you take damage on the front of your car or the back, you want to slowly pull over to the right and just stop the car. If my front spoiler gets bent, I'm not going to be turning, I'm not going to have the high speed in the straights, and I'm going to get past left and right. So these are the things I'm really focusing on, and yes, they've turned down the damage on multiplayer, but it is definitely able to still get something. But this is my favorite track. I don't feel like I'm going to have too many issues on this race, and I know my corners left and right because of Gran Turismo, because I really like handling these turns, and I'm just going to try to get my best to come out here. I go a little bit too much power, and that's the biggest thing with F1 cars. There's so much power coming out. I actually run all assists off except the corners line to help me with braking, as well as traction control is on medium. I'm racing on my Logitech G29. It's very hard to figure out where I need to be having the throttle without feeling the car under me, so it's very hard to dictate. So the medium traction control at least helps me ease into turns a bit more, but I'm just not comfortable enough to turn it off. It becomes just frustration. So coming into lap 2, I'm getting the swing of things. My tires are warm now, and I'm able to get a good angle. And honestly, I'm just stoked. I've been waiting to race this race all day. I'm so happy that I'm here.
Green flag. Are you alright? Engine off. Engine off.
Ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
You know how I feel. Why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, you know I'm not happy. You know I'm trying to see if it'll work out here, and I know that it's not.
Silverstone in England. So we're just going to skip qualifying here and go right into the first part here, and this is where I learned a key strategy in F1 multiplayer, is that you should actually go before it turns green, and that's going to get you a very solid advantage on the cars in front of you. So I'm starting out here in 11th place now, coming into these turns, and I'm going to learn from my ways. Avoid carnage, don't let it get the best of me. I'm playing ultra defensive after the absolute catastrophic terminal damage failure that I had in Brazil. And he oversteers a little too much on the left. Just keep it to the right. Keep things safe. Wait for everyone to make errors and come in where you can. It's really a learning curve when it comes to learning this game, especially playing multiplayer. The computer is hard enough. So coming from a multiplayer perspective where I don't know what they're going to do, I got collisions coming up here. I'm trying to keep my distance, and it's not going to happen. I'm getting shoved in, and you can see right there, yellow damage on the spoiler. Now this is acceptable, but if it gets red, it's gonna be difficult. And you'll see, I'm even with the yellow damage on my spoiler, I'm not going to have the amount of turning that I'm gonna need to get, especially through these S's in Silverstone. So there's a big set of chicanes coming up here, and you're gonna watch the car behind me. You can look at the bottom left map. You can actually see how quick he's coming up on me, and the blind spot detectors. I understand at this point that I'm not gonna win, so I just pull off to the right and I'm just gonna let him pass. There's nothing I could do. This is what you're supposed to do when cars come behind you and you know that you don't have the speed. And there's going to be plenty of examples where we don't get to see that. And he's quick. See, as I try to turn right, I just don't have that angle where I know I should be able to have that. But I'm trying to keep my distance where I can. I mean, what's most important right now is hopefully, come lap 3, I believe, the DRS zones will open. And if I'm in within 1 second, I'm able to. But I am able to see that a couple racers decide to just leave the race. And that's going to give me a big advantage. So cutting here to lap 5. This is really going to be what it's about, just getting up to him. And unfortunately, as you can see through the course of the race, he's a good 6 seconds in front of me at this point, and there's nothing that I could have done. So really what's going to happen is me watching these people behind me. I know I have the spoiler damage. I know I can't turn as well. So I'm going to have to focus on either playing defensive or making sure that I'm able to really make sure that I can get through the corners. You can see I'm cutting a little bit more than I should. I'm trying to compensate for the angle that I'm not able to get with what I should have with a perfect spoiler. Because obviously for a 5-lap race, I'm not going to go into the pits and get a full swap. So, and all things aside, I love this game. There's nothing I would really change about it. I love exactly how it is. It's just multiplayer is just absolute carnage. But, you know, I wanted to stay authentic. I wanted to at least race real people online when it comes to making these videos. I don't just want to show some league. Maybe some streaming in the future, possibly doing a full season. Let me know in the comments what you think. But that's what I'm thinking about right now, is doing a full season and keeping up with the F1 season when it gets started next month in France, hopefully, if lockdown is okay. So looking bottom left, you can see he's creeping up a lot more on me, and here's where I think I'm gonna lock up the tires actually a bit here as I try to just defensive on the inside, not give him the chance. I'm getting a little nervous. He's pretty close behind me, but I'm able to get a good angle, pull away, and I'm gonna end this race in 4th. So not quite the podium, but look, we had a very small gap coming to the end of that, so could have been worse. So I mean, really the things I've learned here is, 1, you need to leave before it turns green, and you just got to learn to be quick through these corners. I mean, watch as this guy pulls away, but nevertheless, on to the next race. Here we're going to try taking on Austria, which this is actually my first time ever driving this track, period. I've never done this in the game either. And to top it all off, it looks like we're going to have some heavy weather conditions going in. So this was actually my first race of the day when I started recording. And I get a good takeoff. I'm really thinking that a lot of airs are going to be happening. So coming into this turn, I come in on the inside, I try to get a gap, and
We've been given a 3-second time penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct.
yep, the brake is on the left. Well, at least I got the podium.